Again, Shrink and Wrap Show. We'll see you then.
That's the Shrink and Wrap Show every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's time for the Kelly Show. Kelly is an award-winning photographer and the owner of the website iloveclearwater.com. Doug is the author of 4 published books and a contributing editor for Florida Sportsman magazine. And now, here they are.
We are indeed. Thank you for joining us. I'm a little hoarse. You'll have to forgive me, but Mr. Ed is what you're going to get today. All I can say. But, you know, the U.S. Army just celebrated a 350-year birthday. They had a big parade in Washington. Huh? What? 250 years. I aged them a century. But anyway, just a great tribute to our military, who we owe so much to in terms of their service and activity and keeping us safe. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of a notification. And today we have some very interesting guests. A super show. You're going to want to stay until the end because we have exhibits. We have animal exhibits, which are going to be fantastic.
You ruined my surprise.
I'm surprised. In any case, I'm here with Kelly. I bet her 7/8, Big Ed Davis in the control room. I'm Doug Kelly. And we thank you for tuning into the Kelly Show. We're on every Monday at the same time and station, so please sure to be with us every week. Kel?
We're also on Facebook Live at the Kelly Show page and on YouTube at WTAN Tan Talk Radio Network. And we're podcast internetradiopros.com.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and first off, why don't we introduce our guests?
We have some exciting guests.
Exciting guests. Not dull guests.
Lloyd Simmons, he's the recreation coordinator for Moccasin Lake Nature Park. He's in the middle.
Hello.
Dennis Beaker is the president of the Suncoast Herpetological Society. Yay, I pronounced it correctly. And Lainey Walker is the events coordinator for the Tampa Bay Raptor Rescue. And we have 3 surprise guests. And we're going to go to a break in a few minutes, but I don't know, Lainey, can your surprise guest sit on the table, or
he sure can. Would you like me to set that up for you?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
Good. We'll check that out.
Dennis also brought a couple of guests, so we're excited about all these, as well as our human guest.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Well, listen, stick with us. We're going to be with you for the next hour, so relax, take it easy. If you're in your car, be careful. If you're home, pour your favorite cocktail, relax, and we'll be back right after these messages.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
Just about everyone is fascinated by the mafia. Books and movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, and many others became bestsellers and box office hits. Did you know that a century ago, mobsters like Al Capone discovered Florida's tropical climate and sparse law enforcement? Mafia bosses from around the nation began setting up illegal operations in Florida. Now, for the first time, a new book titled Sunshine State Mafia, A History of Florida's Mobsters, Hitmen, and Wise Guys provides vivid stories and never-before-seen images of dangerous criminals who settled in Florida full or part-time. Written by renowned author Doug Kelly, Sunshine State Mafia exposes the hidden history of the mob throughout the state and includes Doug's own brushes with crime figures. Sunshine State Mafia is available at all major book retailers, or obtain a signed copy by calling 727-724-4949 or email sunshinestatemafia@gmail.com.
What do the most successful companies have in common? They leverage growth by forming valuable relationships and partnerships. Amplify Clearwater puts you in touch with accomplished business and community leaders that inspires networking and helps you navigate the best courses of action for your company. Become a member and instantly acquire a powerful edge over your competitors by forming strong connections with top business leaders and elected officials. Amplify Clearwater. One community, one chamber, one vision. Contact us at amplifyclearwater.com or call 727-461-0011. That's amplifyclearwater.com. 727-461-0011.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Thanks for listening to the Kelly Kelly Show. I'm Kelly Kelly. I'm here with my better half, Doug Kelly, and we have 3 exciting guests today. I'm so excited about this show because they brought animals.
Oopsie. Yeah. One of which is fluttering around right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
That was cool.
Okay. So in the middle, we have Lloyd Simmons. He's the recreation coordinator for Moccasin Lake. And next to Doug, we have Dennis Beaker. He's the president of the Suncoast Herpetological Society. And on the end, with her little owl friend, is Lainey Walker. And I will let you talk about that, his name and everything. But we have a 3-year-old Eastern screech owl that is sitting on the desk. Yes. Okay. Can kind of see him.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's his name?
His name is Sir Galahad.
Cool. Cool.
Sir Galahad. There he is. He's back on his perch.
The bravest owl in our whole sanctuary.
Wow.
Okay. And for those of you listening in your car or on the radio, you can tune in on Facebook and see our animal guests. So welcome to the show, all 3 of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll start with Lloyd.
Okay.
What types of wildlife can visitors expect to see at Moccasin Lake Nature Park?
We actually have a number of different kinds of animals you're going to see. Probably ones that are sought after by most people are going to be all the different kinds of birds we have. And first of all, we have actually a small sanctuary of birds of prey. And Lonnie's going to talk more about this, but birds of prey are there. They are non-releasable, although they have been rehabilitated for the most part. But they're on display all the time for people to take a look at. If you hit the trails, you got a chance of maybe seeing alligators on the trails, different kinds of snakes. We have a lot of different kinds of songbirds and water birds to take a look at. So we have a small pond, we have a lake, we have a turtle pond where turtles have been brought to the park that the owners couldn't take care of anymore. So we have a small turtle pond.
I didn't know that. I've been there many times and I did not know that.
Yep. And then a pollinator garden as well, which is actually maintained by one of the groups that meets there, the Pinellas Native Plant Society. So,
okay, you mean the butterflies?
The butterflies, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So first of all, let me back up a little. When you say you have alligators,
Right.
are they mostly in the lake, or do they come out of the lake?
Rarely do they come out of the lake. It's not really where they want to stay for too long.
Okay.
They feel, much less vulnerable in the water and such. But yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, otters too. You can see otters there as well if you have the patience.
Otters.
Otters. Yep.
I didn't know this. Yeah. I'm learning all kinds of things.
Yep.
So, how long has the park been in existence? Do you know?
It opened up in 1982.
Okay.
And it's been there ever since. Interesting though, they found out that some of the trails needed repairs. In 1982, there was a storm the day after it opened, and they had to close the park back down to repair some of the trails because they were washed away during a major storm. But yeah, since 1982.
Okay. And do you know how big the park is?
But we actually just grew by a few acres. So right now we are 54 acres, but 54 acres is a small park.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think about it, if you go to Boyd Hill in St. Pete, that's 900 acres. If you go to Brooker Creek up in Tarpon, that's 9,000 acres.
Wow.
So we're kind of like a starter park.
Okay. Sounds good.
More homey.
Exactly.
There
yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Heidi, we were right at the introduction there talking about Sir Galahad. Tell us a little bit about him and the other raptors you have.
Yeah, so right now, Sir Galahad wants to jump all over your equipment very badly,
That's
which
okay.
is why I'm picking him up.
Huh?
So the first important thing to note about all of the raptors that we have at the sanctuary, which is located in Moccasin Lake Nature Park, is that they are all with us because they have a reason they can't survive in the wild on their own. So, for example, Sir Galahad here fell out of his nest at 2 weeks old and was blinded in his left eye. They also our veterinarians also found some neurological damage. So they asked us if we could please keep him in human care so that he could meet lifespan and be an ambassador for his species.
That's great.
So the birds at Moccasin Lake not only are there so the public is able to be educated on and learn about raptors up close and personal, but they also support themselves through help from the city of Clearwater and through donations given to us from the public. And they support our rescue and rehabilitation efforts that come from Tampa Bay Raptor Rescue. So they have a really big job actually as ambassadors for their species, in addition to the injuries that they already have. So they're really quite impressive animals, and each one has a really individual story.
What other birds do you have besides owls?
So we have almost 40 raptors.
Wow.
Of over 20 different species. Florida has one of the most diverse raptor populations in all of the United States. So we find that our collection really represents the population that we have in Florida. We have all different types of falcons, owls. We have 3 resident bald eagles, 2 females and 1 male who do veterans events. We have vultures and hawks galore. So almost any raptor that you're looking for, we have for you.
How are they housed?
It depends. Typically, they're housed in outdoor enclosures where they have free reign. We try to keep it as wild as possible for them. For some of them, that's not their ideal management style. So they have different housing requirements.
I got you.
Okay. So can you see these birds every day?
Yeah. So during our park's opening hours, which I'm sure Lloyd will tell you more about, you are able to see these birds not only out in their enclosures, but most days, of course, weather depending and depending on how many volunteers we have readily available, I am able to bring birds out of their enclosures.
Really?
For the public to get really close and personal.
So not just special events.
Yeah. So on a typical day at the park, we do try to get plenty of them out. And for most of them, that's our peregrine falcons. They are some of the smartest birds that we have.
Wow. And the fastest animal on Earth.
Yes, that's right. And they actually particularly enjoy interacting with people in human care. Since they're so high intelligence, they're more closely related to parrots than any other hawk or eagle is. So they're super high intelligence and they have a little bit of a social nature to them. So we give them a little bit of extra personal attention.
Perfect. Okay. So I've heard peacocks roam the park.
They do.
They do.
And do they get close to visitors, or I know it's not advisable to go running up to a peacock, but
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
say
They
Is that
can,
the answer?
for the most part. You do want to be kind of careful.
Mhm.
You know, you don't want to go ahead and try to chase them or anything. But yeah, they're everywhere right now. And they don't belong to the park, but there's plenty for them to eat there, so they stay. And of course, we actually have neighbors in the area that will also go ahead and feed them. Not always the best thing to do, but it does happen. So yeah, they're here to stay. They're here to stay.
What about pets? Pets, is that a problem? Can people bring pets or?
We actually don't permit pets in the park
Okay.
unless
makes
somebody
sense.
has, like an animal.
service animal.
Yeah, service. Exactly. But otherwise, we prefer people not bring pets in the
Of
park.
course.
It's a nature park for one. And of course, with the birds, they're in their enclosures. This may be perceived as a threat to them.
Sure.
And as it is, they're already in a contained area. So we don't want to stress the birds out at all.
Absolutely.
So,
Makes
yeah.
perfect
Perfect. I
sense.
know my
Yeah.
dog would go right for it.
Yep.
so.
Right.
Okay, what are the features of the walking trails and boardwalks? And
Well, we actually just installed a storybook trail. And this was installed by an Eagle Scout. And the storybook trail is essentially a series of stations that you walk along all the way out to the lake. And there are pages of different stories that we have. And so parents can come and actually read the story as they go out to the lake. And it's all themed after elements that you find at the park. So in our case, we're very much a wetlands park. Most of the park is. So the story that we have now is Water is Water. And so you can actually read that as you go out to the lake with your children.
awesome.
Yeah.
Are there any guided nature tours or?
Yes. Every Friday, we can offer a guided nature tour to anybody that comes in. That's actually on the schedule. And then we also offer guided hikes to local school groups, scouts, anybody interested. We just completed a night hike actually for the Clearwater Library System. So yeah, these are all available at the park.
Okay. And how does the park manage invasive species? And are there any ongoing restoration projects?
It is very, very difficult. Again, where we are a wetlands park, a lot of stuff kind of washes in, with the streams and the waterways and such that go out into the neighborhood. And we're also surrounded by neighbors, basically residents. So it's hard to keep it under control. But we will bring out different kinds of scouting groups that come out. I don't know if you've heard of Keep Pinellas Beautiful.
Yes.
It's an organization. They can muster 100 volunteers in one day, and they'll come to the park and they can remove sometimes up to 800 pounds of material.
Wow.
And we can,
Do people litter that much?
This is all plant material, exotic
Plant
invasive
material.
plants.
Okay.
Yeah. For the most part, actually littering in the park is not a big problem. We're very lucky in that respect. And I think a lot of people that come to the park, they're there to enjoy the nature, not necessarily contribute to a litter problem at all. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that either. I'm just learning all kinds of stuff. So, all right. I'm going to give my headphones over to Dennis, and we're going to have you talk about the Herpetological Society, Suncoast Herpetological Society. I know, man.
She nailed it.
Okay, Dennis Speaker. Why don't you also get out your companions?
Okay, we can do that.
Do you have all your fingers?
Yeah, you got it.
Are these animals that can be seen at Moccasin Lake?
On Wednesdays.
On Wednesdays.
Yes, I bring a good assortment of snakes and snakes and tortoises, turtles.
Did you say what?
At Moccasin Lake?
Move a little closer.
I bring them in on Wednesdays.
I see. Okay.
Usually from like 10 to 3:30.
10 to 3:30.
Yeah.
What kind of things can we see when you bring them?
You can see ball pythons, carpet pythons, native red rat snakes, and native king snakes, gopher snakes, just an assortment of native and non-native.
Okay.
And it's
do you
one of
ever
the
bring
things
a
I do to
Burmese?
teach the kids the difference between native and non-native.
Okay.
We let them know. And they end up telling me, I ask them, I say, well, is it native or not native? Well, that's native,
Really?
And it's a learning curve for them also.
Any Burmese pythons?
No.
No Burmese
No.
pythons.
No.
You don't want to risk getting out.
They're outlawed as a pet for one thing.
Okay. In
So
Florida?
you can't have them as a pet unless you're a zoo or something like that. Then you can have them on display. But
Okay.
other than that, you're not allowed to have them
Oh,
anymore.
good to know.
Yeah.
I would assume that most of the food that they eat are mice. The snakes.
Mice? Do they eat mice?
Well, the smaller snakes eat mice,
Mhm.
and the larger snakes, like this beautiful banana ball python here, she eats medium rats.
Hmm.
Yeah, medium-sized rats about every couple of weeks.
Okay.
And so we feed frozen thawed. We don't feed anything live.
Oh.
And the reason for that is you can't control the parasites if you feed live.
I see.
You know, no matter who you buy them from.
Okay.
So, and the other thing is, unfortunately, if the snake's not hungry, for example, and you put a live rat in their cage, the cage is an advantage to the rat if the snake doesn't eat the rat right away. Okay, so the rat ends up eating, because of all the flesh that's here along the backbone, the rats will eat big holes in the snakes.
Oh my!
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's really bad. Then you got to take them to the vet, get them sewed up. They have big scars for the rest of their life.
Huh.
Very painful for the snake.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
So if you feed frozen thawed,
You're safe.
that's
they're
the
safe.
safest thing to do. So that's what we encourage everybody to do.
Okay. Does
All
he have a name?
This guy's name is Rip,
Rip.
and he's named after the second character in command to Kevin Costner on the Yellowstone.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Okay, Rip
All right.
does all the dirty work for Kevin Costner on Yellowstone. Well, my wife's a Yellowstone fanatic.
Okay.
And so when I rescued, this guy was a rescue, by the way.
Uh-huh.
When I rescued him and brought him home, she says, "Oh, he's yellow. I have the perfect name for him." I went, "Oh boy," you know. And anyway, she named him Rip.
So explain rescue with a snake.
Well, a lot of times what happens is somebody will either find a snake or the police will find them possibly. Like in this case, the police called me 11:30 at night. They found the snake in the middle of the road.
Oh.
And it had escaped.
Oh.
Somebody didn't turn it loose. It escaped because it was all cut up. And it evidently was kept in a wire cage, which you don't do with snakes, for one thing. And we had to treat it, you know, a lot to get it to where we could take it out, and everything was healed up and everything. So
Wow.
sometimes we rescue them or adopt them from people that don't want them anymore.
I can see that.
Unfortunately, just like they do puppy dogs and cats, you know,
Uh-huh.
Sure.
people get tired of them.
They escape a lot. I know that.
I have snakes that I've gotten from college students that had to go off to college. And the snake was left with mom and pop, and they said,
No
it's
way.
not staying here.
had-
But different
I was
things.
telling you, my son used to collect non-venomous snakes when we lived in the Keys, and he had a python, and he named it Julius Squeezer.
That's a good one.
I thought that was pretty original.
That's a good one.
Any rate,
Yeah.
Okay. So
what clubs and societies regularly meet?
We meet every fourth Saturday of the month at Moccasin Lake. That's
Right.
our home base.
Mhm.
And we meet there every fourth Saturday at 6:00. And every month we try to have different guest speakers. Like one month it may be a guest speaker come in and bring some ball pythons and talk about raising them and the husbandry with them and everything, or lizards and turtles one month or whatever. This month we have our guest speaker is going to talk about red-footed tortoises. And he'll bring some red-footed tortoises and some of his babies that he's hatched out with him. And so that's kind of what we do.
So I see that his tongue is going out a lot. What is he doing?
he's just looking around. His tongue tells him everything he needs to know. They can see fairly well, but their tongue pretty much tells them everything. Like a dog uses his nose to trail, a snake uses its tongue.
Oh,
The
can he
Jacobson
smell with
organ.
his tongue?
Yeah, the tongue tells them everything.
Huh.
And then these guys, when they get close, you see it's hard to see, but the holes, the pits,
Oh, yeah.
those are pits, like a pit viper or like a rattlesnake. And when they get close, they start breathing air in those pits. And it actually gives them they can see the heat outline of the animal that they crawled up to. They can decide if maybe it's too big to eat or maybe it's exactly what they want.
Rip is combing your hair right now, by the way.
Yeah, he's a friendly little guy. He's held by thousands of kids already. And this morning, some of our volunteers and myself and my wife, we went to the summer camp rec center in Oldsmar. And we did 95 kids this morning.
Wow.
And
my gosh, that many.
And all the kids got to pet and hold snakes, pet tortoises, and stuff. And some kids just wanted to touch the tortoises, didn't, really care for the snakes. And we respect that, Snakes aren't for everybody.
No.
But a lot of kids change their minds. They come back to Moccasin Lake week after week.
They want to see them.
Yeah. Well, they got to know the snakes and they'll go, hey, Dennis, did you bring Rip today? Can I hold Rip? So
Dennis has a fan club.
I get you.
We try to keep it. We try to keep it where everybody it can enjoy themselves, learn something, and do it safely. That's the main thing. You don't bring anything or let any kids hold anything that might endanger them or get them in trouble.
Okay,
it's
so
all
no venomous snakes.
Small stuff like this. So.
No venomous. Okay,
yeah,
good to know.
But we have a good time. I love what I do, and I look forward to every Wednesday.
That's great. Do you have another guest there?
Yes, I do. Happen to.
Okay.
Did you want to hold this one?
Sure.
Yeah, you can hold that one. He loves to be held.
He does.
This guy here is kind of a unique character. This is another one that I adopted because the family didn't want it anymore. They didn't want to feed it anymore. Unfortunately, rats are getting very expensive. To feed that snake every time he eats a rat, it's like $3.25.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And that's just one snake.
This guy eats rats too. So this is a giant African bullfrog.
And he is giant. You know what? I got to get a photo.
And you know what his name is?
What?
Jabba Hutt.
Jabba the Hutt. All right.
I like it.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Jabba Hutt. But he's from Africa. Smile.
My camera's closed. One more. Sorry.
Oop, here we go. He's from Africa. And these guys don't make good pets for the simple reason they have a lot of teeth in their upper jaw. Okay, very sharp teeth. They're one of the only frogs in the world that have teeth.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Doug Penn.
Yeah. And you wouldn't want to get bit by him. But other than that, he's very docile, and he eats rats. When I feed my snakes, I feed him, and they're very, very aggressive when it comes to eating.
Really?
Yes.
Sort of like Doug.
Yeah, and he's not full grown yet. He's still growing.
Wow.
And he may get the size of a dinner plate.
Wow.
Before he's done. So. They can live 30 to 40 years if everything is right.
Yeah.
If they're treated right and taken care of. But
was he a rescue as well?
Yeah, he's a beautiful little guy. The kids love him. It's one of their favorites at schools and everything because they've never seen anything this large.
No.
But he's a beautiful animal. But unfortunately, the people didn't want him no more. Wouldn't take care of him anymore. And so.
Wow.
Well, that's a shame.
He is big.
Let me give you back
Rip.
Rip here.
Well, let him put Jabba Hutt back.
Jabba the Hutt.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. We are going to take a short break. Short.
Okay.
And two of our advertisers. And then we'll be back with Lloyd Simmons, Dennis Beaker, and Lainey Walker.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
Shop the largest selection of Guy Harvey apparel, artwork, and gift items at GuyHarvey.com. From the world-renowned marine wildlife artist, the Guy Harvey online shop features the latest in performance apparel, classic Guy Harvey t-shirts, decor for every room in your home, exquisite ocean-inspired jewelry, and unique gift items, including custom merchandise not available anyplace else. Browse an extensive catalog of original Guy Harvey works of art and a full range of beautiful reproductions. As with all Guy Harvey merchandise, a percentage of sales benefits the ocean conservation, research, and education work of the Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation. The Guy Harvey Ocean Foundation will help ensure that future generations can enjoy and benefit from a well-balanced ocean ecosystem. Bring the undersea world into your everyday life at GuyHarvey.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Yeah, there's Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed. I do sound a little bit like him. But, by the way,
I was going with the theme that we had animals in there, not your voice.
Yes, you were. Yes, you were. We're here with some really great guests, 3 guests from the Moccasin Lake Nature Park. We've been chatting a little bit about what the park offers, and we're just getting into that. What makes Moccasin Lake unique compared to other nature preserves in the area?
What I think is really kind of neat are all the different partnerships we have with everybody. We have 8 different clubs that meet at the park.
Wow.
We have a Friends of Moccasin Lake, actually a support group for the park too. So if you're interested in, anything from herpetological items, reptiles and amphibians, if you enjoy something like photography, we have a photo club that meets there. We have the Clearwater Women's Club meets there. So yeah, there's all these different organizations, Native Plant Society, Audubon. So all of these different kinds of clubs meet at the park, and they all support us when we have special events and such. So anytime we have Halloween coming up in October. And so if you go to our park at Halloween, you'll see all these different groups there. So.
And do people dress up for Halloween or?
I'm really hoping so.
Okay.
I really am. Yeah.
Okay. So before I forget, where can you find the groups and the events at your park? Is there a website?
Yeah, actually, if you go to myclearwater.com, you will go ahead and just find our parks and the Parks and Rec pages and such. So yeah.
Okay.
Or, honestly, if you just look for Moccasin Lake Nature Park, type that into Google, we will pop up.
There's some signage out there too.
There's signage just outside the park. Yeah. The park entrance is kind of tucked away a little bit. The closest major intersection to our park is US 19 and Drew Street. And then from there, you can navigate to the park pretty easy. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And can you tell us about the Friends in Focus Photography Club?
Friends in Focus Photography Club, they're in a little bit of a hiatus right now as far as some of the groups don't meet during the summer, or may not meet for certain reasons and such.
It's very hot to
be
out taking photos.
It is. Yeah, it is. But yeah, they will go ahead and actually offer different kinds of events online, as well as they'll offer meetups at different places for their club members to go to. And when they do meet at the park, it's usually some sort of like educational component. And that's the one thing about all the different groups that meet there. Mm-hmm. All of their meetings at the park are free and open to the public.
Oh, nice.
So we have a bonsai club. So if you go ahead and come in on the second Saturday of the month, you can actually walk into the Bonsai Society meeting and learn something about bonsai, talk to some of the people that are experts there. These are people that work on trees that are worth thousands of dollars sometimes. I mean, it's really, really kind of an interesting group. Yeah.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned also about having alligators.
Yes.
And they're in what, like a canal next to it, or
actually on property, we have a body of water called Moccasin Lake. And then we also have a small moccasin pond. And both of these you can find alligators in. We have seen recently a 4-foot alligator in Moccasin Pond and a couple of larger alligators out at Moccasin Lake. Problem is, of course, you can't guarantee that. I've had guests who've literally come in and said, "Where are your alligators?" Oh, and I have to describe that they're here, but necessarily not on show.
Okay.
It's really kind of up to them what they want to do.
Do you have to walk all the way back to see the lake and the pond?
You do, yeah.
Okay,
so
I have never seen them.
Yeah, the trail itself is about 1.25 miles, not too bad. But about a half a mile is where you find Moccasin Lake itself. Yeah.
That brings up a good point. I saw a video recently of somebody that went in there and took both aerial and walking along the entire park.
Yes.
So would you be able to see that video on that website, or
if
is it on
I'm
Facebook?
not mistaken, it should still be at myclearwater.com on our page and such. I haven't been there to check it recently, but I believe it's still available. Yes.
Okay, so
it's a very
I did
well done
see
video.
the lake on the video.
Yep.
I've never seen it in person, so I'm excited to finally see it.
Yeah. I do want to mention too that on the trails we actually have little markers for a video description of what you're looking at or what area that you're in. So they're all QR codes, and if you point your camera at it and click, it'll take you over to a website, basically YouTube, to show you a video of what you're looking at, what you see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm learning.
What size staff do you have?
I'm the only full-timer there on a regular basis, but I also have 4 others that do help me out.
Volunteers?
Well, we have a lot of volunteers too, actually. We do.
Whether you're at home, in the car,
I know our other club that is with us, a partner, Tampa Bay Raptor Rescue, have quite a few volunteers, very dedicated volunteers to helping taking care of the birds and such.
Lainey, how many volunteers do you happen to know?
We have about 30 active
Wow.
volunteers,
Wow.
all of which I interact with pretty hands-on. So
What
we're
do they
actually
do?
we're a really tight-knit group. It's a lot of cleaning. The birds that we have poop approximately 50 times a day. So it's a lot of cleaning. But we also have quite a few dedicated handlers and trainers of the raptors that we have at Moccasin Lake.
Okay, so not just anybody can go in there and hold a raptor. You got to know what you're doing.
We do have a process on which we train people to interact with the birds.
And Sir Galahad is still out, and I notice he's very small. And what did you say about the females of eastern screech owls?
The females of all birds of prey are a little bit larger than the males.
I didn't know that either. Okay.
It's called reverse sexual dimorphism.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're wearing a glove. Why?
Because he's very sharp. As fluffy and sweet and soft as owls can be, you'll see a lot of videos on the internet of people hugging and touching and cuddling with owls. That isn't something we necessarily support at our sanctuary. They are very sharp, and even when this small, we don't really want to be touching them or interacting with them in that way because it's unsafe for them for a number of reasons. The main of which being the oils on our hands can actually damage their feathers.
Oh.
So handling with bare hands, this isn't something we typically do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does Sir Galahad eat?
Typically mice. I just want to point out that he's preening right now.
Okay.
He's really comfortable.
Oh.
Typically mice, but he'll also eat almost any feed or insect that you can find at your typical pet store. And that's what we feed him in human care. But what's really special about this owl, the eastern screech owl, which there are more of in Pinellas County than anywhere else in the world, I might mention, is their favorite food is roaches and palmetto bugs.
Roaches. Oh, my.
Yes, roaches and palmetto bugs. So these guys are actually doing us a giant favor in the wild.
Yeah.
Just
Wow.
by living and having their meal times.
It's like a gecko that flies, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen palmetto bugs that are about half his size, so that's amazing. Okay.
Hence the sharpness.
Yeah, wow, okay.
So do you have programs for children or any particular groups? Or?
Yeah, so Lloyd actually helps us organize quite a few of our programs that we do for field trip groups and summer camp groups that come to the park.
Mhm.
We do offer bird of prey programs, Title I schools, of which we offer for free at no charge at all. But we also go off-site for not only events in Clearwater like the Market Marie. If you guys have ever
Yes.
been in Coachman Park on Saturdays,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
we have a booth there
Oh,
in the fall and the winter. We take off from that in the summer because it gets quite hot for
Yeah.
these
It
guys.
gets really hot. Yeah. Oh. And he's very alert, you said today.
He loves this room. He was really wanting to hop all around with your equipment, and the thing about
I
eastern
don't see a
screech
problem.
owls being
Ed might.
being insect eaters, he'd probably be pretty interested in your wires, which would not be fun for any of
Oh,
us.
okay.
So I did choose to keep him contained on the glove for this
Gotcha.
session.
do you have like picnic areas and things like that for people to?
Yeah,
Kick
we
back
sure
and
do.
relax.
We actually have a picnic pavilion. We can go ahead and seat between 40 and 50 people there.
Really?
As a matter of fact, when Lonnie and her volunteers actually do a bird of prey presentation, it's in that picnic shelter usually. Although they can do it anywhere in the park pretty much.
So
But
I've
yeah.
been mispronouncing her name the entire time. It's Lonnie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Okay.
It's just fine.
Okay. How can someone sign up to be a volunteer?
I
wanna
think
do
that's a
some?
joint question
Yeah.
between the two
Yeah.
of us, but I'll let you take it.
So all the volunteers at the park do have to go through the city of Clearwater to become volunteers. It involves background checks and such.
Mhm.
And then once that's accomplished, I'll do an orientation for the volunteer just to get them used to the idea of what the park has to offer.
Sure.
And I do want them. Yes, they're going to be working with the birds, but I'd like them to be at least familiar with some of the stuff that we have at the park. Hopefully, they'll get a chance to take a look at our trails and such. And a lot of times, they might be the first contact for a guest coming into the park.
Mhm.
And so, I always ask our volunteers to at least kind of know what's going here so that when someone comes up to you, you can tell them or direct them to us so that we can
Sure.
help the guest out with the program and such. But
Is there volunteer opportunities for other than raptors?
there are, yeah. If you want to come out to the park and help us with some of our gardens and such, we always appreciate that. Once or twice a month, our Native Plant Society puts together something with volunteers from the city to come out and work on the pollinator garden or the butterfly garden.
Mhm.
But once a new volunteer has an orientation with me, I'll introduce them to Lonnie. And then Lonnie will go ahead and basically get them on a schedule for training and for, any care that they need to learn about. So
I love when Lloyd comes to us with a new volunteer. He always comes in with the best people for us.
Oh, that's great.
folks, yeah.
That's great.
Awesome. Is there a minimum length of time that you have to do per week, or?
it depends on what kind of volunteering they want to do. I have a couple of volunteers right now. They come in for about an hour a week, and all they want to do is walk around the trails, but they want to pick up trash and stuff that maybe got dropped by a child or something walking
Nice.
along. As far as the bird of prey volunteers for raptor rescue, I know it's a little longer. They're hoping to have these volunteers because it does take time to develop, the relationships with the birds they have to have. And it's a lot of information too.
It also depends on what the volunteer wants to do on our end as well. If they want to handle or even train birds, we'll always ask for a much larger time commitment. Rather than if they're just there to help out and get to be around animals in the meantime, we could be a little more relaxed about it.
Okay. How did you get to be interested in raptors?
That is a fantastic question. One that I love to answer because my favorite answer is always my mommy. She has been working with birds of prey for 20 years.
Wow.
Which is about how old I am now. So I spent my whole childhood driving around Florida with my mom looking at birds. And when she decided to work on this bird of prey program with Moccasin Lake Nature Park, and the first time I met Lloyd, I had a dollhouse with me because I was that young that we had gone into this building for a meeting, a building that doesn't exist anymore. And I had my dollhouse and I remember starting to do everything there. And of course I had my angsty teenage years where I don't want to do birds. I'm not going to do it. And here we are.
What have you learned or perceived? How rewarding has it been doing this type of thing and bonding and maybe even in a soulful way with some of the animals?
You've got a good story.
Yeah.
You want to share it?
Which one?
Which
one?
We were talking about just outside at the table. The one young lady who you're going to go see. Shirley, ring the bell.
Oh, yeah. A while back, we got invited to go to the fashion show at the Tampa Stadium for children with leukemia and different types of cancer and stuff. And what it is each child has a dream. Okay, they want to be a doctor or veterinarian or something. Well, there was a little girl wanted to be a herpetologist, so we were contacted. Anyway, I set up a meeting with the people to find out what was entailed, and we met this little girl, and she just would melt your heart. Anyway, she wanted to be a herpetologist.
I'm surprised a child can
I have
pronounce
a snake named Zoe, which is a ball python, but it's a natural color. It's a dark color, browns and blacks. And anyway, she met with us, come to the house, fell in love with Zoe. So anyway, I printed up a T-shirt for her, one of our T-shirts, and with a picture of Zoe on the back.
Nice.
And then she wore that at the fashion show and carried Zoe down the runway in her arms.
That's awesome.
And of course, we had my wife and another lady in the club. We all carried reptiles also. So there was several of us walked all the way down the runway with her.
Nice.
And all the way back. And we spent the evening with her. Anyhow, make a long story short, this morning I get an email from the little girl's mom, okay, with an invitation for my wife and I to go to St. Joseph's Hospital and be there with this little girl when she rings the bell because she's cured.
Wow.
Wow, what a great
What a
story.
great story.
And those are things that they make your eyes water.
Absolutely.
When you talk about them. But there's lots of different stories that happen like that. But that's one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now.
That's a great story.
It was fantastic.
Do you have any particular remarkable things that you can recall in your own things?
I would actually say the bird that I have right here is one of the most meaningful connections I've made with this because he fell out of his nest at 2 weeks old.
Oh.
So I raised him from when he fit in the palm of my hand. And not only does he have the most incredible personality because of it, but I do a really good screech owl impression.
Oh my God.
I gotta hear it.
They go. And because of this bird, I have been able to call out to wild screech owls when other babies fall out of their nests and return their children to them.
Oh, wow.
Which I sound nuts when I say that out loud, but the amount of wild screech owls I've interacted with because he taught me how to make this weird noise
that's great.
Has been incredible. And just the amount of birds that I've seen success stories with going back out into the wild always puts a smile on my face.
For sure.
And not only that, but just at the park, especially when kiddos come in and they get to know the birds, they get to know the volunteers, and we have the same kids who come every week. There are 2 children in particular and their mom who come every Wednesday. And they see Dennis and they come out and they tell me about which reptile they held, and then they walk the trails and they always find something. It's either a leaf or a peacock feather, some little rock or shell or object, and they always show me what they found.
Wow.
And they say hi to the birds, and they ask me a new question every week, and then it's okay, thank you, Lonnie, have a good day. And they always say hello and goodbye to us.
He's your child.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. It's wonderful when you bond with a different species, whether it's a horse, whether it's a reptile, whether it's a dog, you know, it's just special.
Real quick, because we have 3 minutes. So in 1 minute or 1.5 minutes, can you tell us about some of the events that, such as the annual Earth Day event at Moccasin Lake? Are there more? You mentioned the fall one. Halloween.
During the summer, we don't have quite as much going on just because of the heat. But yes, each year we do an Earth Day event. We always try to do an event for Halloween or in the fall. We also do musical events in the fall. We've actually, believe it or not, we've had operas at Moccasin Lake. Really? We have a stage behind our nature center that we use for that. And then let's see, what else do we have coming up? There are some smaller programs too. Like one of my favorites is we actually do Science Rocks, in which 4 to 6-year-olds can come out and learn about science from a couple of retired teachers that belong to our Clearwater Women's Club, which is just awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Well, I hope you guys don't mind, but I also wanted to share real quick. My favorite thing, being at the park for so long, I've been there for 20 years now. And one of my favorite things is getting kids who used to come to my science and nature camp years ago actually return with their families to visit the park.
Oh, that's nice.
Really kind of neat. So
that's awesome. So you do have camps still at the park?
We used to. We're hoping to eventually start that back up.
Okay.
But unfortunately, we don't have enough staff to accomplish that just yet.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
And one more time, what's the website for Moccasin Lake?
Again, the easiest way, because otherwise it's a very long address, is go to Google, type in Moccasin Lake Nature Park.
Perfect.
And you'll see a My Clearwater page that it'll take you to.
And the event calendar.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And it's free.
It is free to visit, yes.
And no dogs allowed.
Please.
Or cats.
Thank you. Or birds.
Okay, perfect.
Just our birds.
Very good. Well, I tell you what, Ed, how much time we still have left?
You had about a minute and a half.
About a minute and a half. All right. When you first bring one of these animals in, they must be a little intimidated. Does it take a while for them to get calm and relaxed?
Question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Depends on the animal. So, of course, for an animal that comes in as a baby or a juvenile, that process is accelerated and almost immediate. But for adults, we had a red-shouldered hawk come to us last year, missing an entire wing. It was shot off, unfortunately. It's very common and very illegal. Don't shoot birds, people. Thank you.
Really.
I can't even imagine that.
I know, that's a lot to hear in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But he came in as an adult. Nobody wanted this bird because they can be very difficult to acclimate. But after a year, he's one of our best ambassadors and actually especially skilled at children's programs.
Awesome.
So
I'm going to
sometimes
come
that's
see
how
that.
long it takes. And we're always training. We train for life. So they're always learning new things.
Okay. And Sir Galahad is looking forward to more visitors as well.
Oh, and please visit. We're open 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday, from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m.
See,
only closed on Mondays.
You're closed on Mondays.
That's
okay. Did not know that.
Yep.
Perfect. I love that park. It's great. It's got a playground as well. We didn't mention that. And restrooms.
It does. Yep. Restrooms, yes.
And that's important.
Well, listen, it's been fun chatting with you all. It really has been informative and great seeing the animals.
Yes.
And we invite you to tune in every Monday from 5 to 6 at this regular time for another rip-roaring edition of the Kelly Kelly Show.
Thanks for listening to the award-winning Kelly Kelly Show on the Tan Talk Radio Network.